Oh man, first rant now that I'm back, and this one is gonna hit home real hard. Now the gameplay in the background comes from Grim Reaper, and obviously since I didn't buy the motherfucker, I had to ask someone for some footage, so he sent in a couple of games and shit like that. Now you gotta notice, the first game that he sent in, all the laggy shit that kills him. Just wait, a little later, he's gonna knife a motherfucker, and the guy doesn't even take a single lick of damage. Doesn't die! Just goes to show you some of the bullshit that's still in this fucking game, man. But anyways, now picture this if you will. Imagine if other companies out there ran their business like Activision does. Just create any scenario in your head with any company out there that sells shit. Can you imagine any other company who is creating a product, knows that product is not going to sell well, so they tack on an older, more popular product and hopes you buy the new one? Are you fucking kidding me? Imagine if Ford was going to sell the 2017 Mustang, knowing it's shitty, but adding in a special 1965 Shelby for 50% of the cost of the new one. Imagine McDonald's rolling out a new burger that they know people aren't gonna like, such as like the fucking McFart burger or something. I'm sure the YouTube owner will love that shit, but he can go fuck himself. But then they decide for just 50% more, you can get the old McDLT or maybe onion nuggets. You guys can look both of those up. Those are real popular back in the day when they were out. Or the best one, imagine Playboy magazine, who recently removed nudity from their page for some stupid fucking hipster reason. Imagine them throwing in magazines from their golden age for now only 50%, because nothing sells product like those cone-shaped titties in the 1960s. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Get the fuck out of here with that shit, man. But that is essentially what Activision did. They knew Infinite bullshit was going to be a struggle and make sales. They even said that before the game came out. They knew that the popularity with the series, and mainly Infinity Ward, was dropping off after Ghost didn't fare too well. And the only way they could attempt to save that shit was Call of Duty 4. But not just any Call of Duty 4. No. Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered. That's like 1960s titty in HDR, motherfucker. That's like 1980s chemicals thrown into our 2017 GMO-free burgers. Oh man, I can't wait to taste that piece of horse's ass. Now with chemicals that give you instant cancer. Look, in all honesty, besides being a cash grab, which anyone with half a brain could see, this was a natural progression of assholedom from Activision. It was their next step in sucking money out of fans who are leaving the franchise. Most of the other studios are rolling out remastered versions of existing games. Some are recent games that were just on the verge of the new consoles, you know, like Grand Theft Auto or The Last of Us. They came out right before PlayStation 4 and Xbox One came out. Others are a few years old, but they still provide amazing quality, like say the BioShock series or something like that. It seems like the going trend is remastering popular old games because the new ones are either taking longer to create or they're selling like shit, or in some cases, both. Shit, PlayStation is really going all out by releasing some of their older, more popular licensed games, going back to like PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 years. But all of those remasters have something in common. They're not sold as part of a package deal with a new game. You don't need to buy Final Fantasy 15 in order to get Final Fantasy 7 Remastered. You don't need to wait for Mass Effect Andromeda if you wanted to try and purchase the trilogy as making a new deal. If the fucking EA and BioWare ever get their shit together and release a remastered version. No other studio did what Activision did by attaching a fan-favorite game to a current game that might not sell well on its own merits. And I think this alone is the biggest reason why I didn't bother with the game. Now, obviously, I haven't had a chance to make a video for quite some time. You guys know that. I did bits here and there, a couple videos. And I even made a video about Call of Duty 4 being remastered and saying, shut up and take my money. But as time got closer to release date, something just felt off about buying this. And giving money to Activision for this game was something I didn't want to do. I wasn't going to play Infinite Warfare Online. That's for fucking sure. There was no way in hell I was going to play that bullshit. So at most, I would have played the 5-hour campaign. I would have played Call of Duty 4, but was it really worth $80? Was it really worth buying a new game that I would play for 5 fucking hours just because I wanted to play something else? Would I buy a current Mustang just so that I could drive a Shelby? Would I buy a McFart burger just to have some onion nuggets? Besides the uncertainty of my moving date and whatnot, the release of games that are coming out, the answer was very simple for me. Unless Activision released the game on its own, I was not going to buy it. I was not going to spend extra money for a 75% completed product, since it's missing some of the maps in this motherfucker. I know they're releasing them for free, but let's be honest, they're missing them right now. But a 75% completed product and a 100% completed product that I don't even want, I couldn't bring myself to the point that I said I needed to buy this package. Now, obviously, I know the prices come down. I know there was some Black Friday sales where all of a sudden the shit was $60, and even now they have like these buy two, get one free, whatever the fuck it is. But here's the thing. No amount of money was going to make up for the principle of what Activision did. Now let's just look at this on the flip side. If Activision decided to release this as a standalone game, I would probably buy it. I would probably pay for a reduced price because, quite frankly, it's probably the best thing Call of Duty is going to release over the next 5 or 6 years. For all of its flaws and the issues that the game had back when it was out, probably still has, probably created now that they remastered this motherfucker, the simplicity of the game is what made it popular. The mechanics of shooting, the thrill of getting that 7-kill streak, that's what made you play the game. You'd love that shit. Not this fucking flying robotic crap. Not this fucking pick 10, pick system of countless fucking items. Not some 25-kill streak of blowing up the whole fucking place. Just simple options with a bunch of well-balanced guns that perform their roles well. If Activision can give me that at a reasonable price, I'll buy it. They just need to throw in some 1960s titties to sweeten up the deal. Now, realistically, we won't know if this marketing ploy actually worked or whether people just didn't give a shit. We know Infinite Warfare didn't sell well at all. To give you an idea, it only sold 1.8 million copies in the US during launch week. Compare that to Black Ops last year, which sold 3 million. But compare that to the 10 million Modern Warfare 3 sold in its first week. You see the decline. You see the money bubble starting to pop, and this shit is a glorious fucking explosion right in their fucking face. But as far as the marketing ploy of the 1.8 million units sold, we don't know how many of those were just a standalone Infinite Warfare game or how many of those were actually attached to Call of Duty 4. For all we know, all 1.8 million could be the deluxe motherfucker edition, or 1 million could be Call of Duty 4 version, while the other 800,000 are standalone games. Whatever. That's the number we'll never know from Activision because they can never reveal that. They have to reveal their sales numbers, but they're not going to reveal what the sales of each unit were. But either way, the sales alone tell you 3 things about the direction of Call of Duty. And what 3 things are they telling you? Number 1, the hype, it's over. It's been over for quite some time, but this year really solidified that. Each year, Activision got to brag about how many copies they sold, how many records they broke, how much their fan base enjoys Call of Duty, blah, 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 blah. You remember that shit? You remember the days of Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops, Modern Warfare 3 releasing and bragging, this is the largest entertainment release money making in history. Then along came Grand Theft Auto, kicked the ever-loving shit out of Activision and took all their fucking money. And I'm not talking like just a small kick. I'm talking a pointed steel-toe boot with the tip inserted right into their asshole kind of kick. And I mean, there was blood on the steel-pointed tip. Ever since then, Call of Duty hasn't said shit about being the highest selling game. They might drop a nugget of being the highest selling game of this week or the highest selling game this particular year, but Grand Theft Auto thoroughly fucking it up their marketing tool. And this shitty performance by Infinite Warfare will be something that they're not going to be able to market. Hell, Destiny's Rise of Iron DLC sold more copies in a week than Infinite Warfare. They sold 1.85 million units at launch in the United States, and Call of Duty couldn't even sell that much in a week. That shows you how much they struggled when a fucking 3-year-old game's DLC of a massively overhyped game is doing better than Call of Duty. Now, point number 2 that people are also going to notice, Infinity Ward is essentially a meaningless name now. 4 to 5 years ago, the name still meant something. Infinity Ward was the creator studio of the series. They made the originals. They made Call of Duty 4. They made Modern Warfare 2. Then they had the entire management staff ousted, and they watched all their talent leave. But even after that bullshit, Modern Warfare 3 sold well. Still the highest selling game of the franchise for some unexplainable fucking reason. Oh god, that fucking game. But with Ghost receiving some of the worst reviews, and now Infinite Warfare embarrassing themselves in sales, the name Infinity Ward means nothing to the fan base. People who know the story know where the talent went, and it's over at EA, and they created Titanfall, another game that struggled to make money this year. People who don't give a fuck about their history sure as hell don't give a fuck about their games either, so slapping their name on a box doesn't mean shit at this point anyway. It's not like Valve. It's not what Bungie used to be. It's not what Naughty Dog is. But the biggest thing to take away from this is point number 3. Fans of the game didn't fall for that shit this time. People finally made Activision listen to them with their money and didn't buy the fucking game. And then it came into the pressure of playing a 10-year-old game remastered for fucking marketing. And they patiently waited out the process, even though there isn't a must-have game that came out this season. There's no Grand Theft Auto. There's no Fallout garbage that people mindlessly buy. Another fucking cunt of a game, but I'll talk about that another day. But essentially, the only other games on the market this year were the normal competitors. Titanfall, Battlefield, World War I, or whatever the fuck they call that shit. There is nothing that was released this year that's going to turn into, wow, that's Game of the Year shit right there. You know, Dishonored, Watch Dogs, nothing. Overwatch released over the spring or summer, whatever the fuck it is, so fans smartly strayed away from Call of Duty this year to show they're not going to be suckered into buying the same fucking game all over again. They're certainly not going to be suckered into buying a game that they already fucking own, like buying an old Mustang or 1960s titties. Now, I said this a few years ago, and it's funny how accurate this shit finally is. If you fuck with Activision's money, you will get the changes that you want in the game. Clearly this year, we fuck with their money. People downvoted the shit out of that Infinite Warfare reveal trailer. They tore them apart on social media over Call of Duty 4 not being a standalone version, plus not having all the maps. And once the game finally released, they ignored it in sales. Shit, the fucking package, like I said, was on sale during Black Friday deals. I remember seeing that shit for $60 fucking dollars. The whole thing. People were spending all this money on the fucking higher price one. Now it's $60 fucking dollars. So basically, retailers were giving away Call of Duty for free, and people still didn't buy that shit. It's not worth it. It's not worth the $60. Sell that shit to me for $40, and then we can talk a deal. But I'm not paying $60 for Call of Duty 4 and then having Infinite Warfare attached to that bullshit. It took fans a very long time to get to this point. Apparently, the kiddies finally grew the fuck up. After 9 fucking years, they finally got their heads out of their ass. Look, it took 3 straight futuristic games to get to this point. Depending on your point of perception when it comes to Ghost and Modern Warfare 2, that actually might be 6 straight futuristic games. Ghost was some alternate universe type shit, and Modern Warfare 2 took place 5 years into the future after the events of Call of Duty 4, whatever the fuck it was. But I'll tell you this right now. While I don't know what Sledgehammer's going to do, it's probably going to be Advanced Warfare number 2. I can all but guarantee that Treyarch is not going to do a futuristic game. That's for damn sure. I can all but guarantee we're going to see a timepiece from them when they release their next game. Because after the criticism of these past few years regarding future games, they're not going to piss away all their fans all over again. So they're going to have to alter what they do in the actual future. You know, Sledgehammer's probably fucked at this point. They're already in development mode on the next project, and they might be too far along to actually change the scope of their game. So unless their plan was to never do an Advanced Warfare number 2, and the next game was always going to be a timepiece game, we're probably going to be getting a futuristic game again next year. But Treyarch is most likely going to do the next non-futuristic game. Look, Black Ops 3 seems to have completed their trilogy, and I can't imagine they're going to do a Black Ops 4 200 years into the fucking future or whatever. Although this is Treyarch, so I wouldn't fucking put it past them. But they're probably just starting the development process, and with the horrible Infinite Warfare sales, I'm sure Activision is going to push them to make a change. It's going to be easier for Treyarch to make a change than for Sledgehammer to make a change at this point. So that's why I have a feeling they're going to have a whole new narrative, and they're going to have a different time frame compared to what Sledgehammer's going to do. But in all honesty, next year, I really do feel bad for Sledgehammer. I mean, I really do, and others should feel bad for them too. You know, 3 years ago, they tried a futuristic game to do something different. Then they were followed by 2 really futuristic games from 2 other Jackass studios. You know, for all we know, they could have been scheduled to do another futuristic game, that sequel that I've been mentioning, and now they're stuck in that narrative knowing fans are not happy with this fucking setting. That really sucks, because imagine having an idea that you want to do only for 2 other people to go and fuck up your idea because they did something similar and they did it real shitty. Yeah, they're fucked. There's no way around that shit. They are absolutely fucked when they decide to release their game. And chances are, next year is going to have a big number of games that are going to release, so it's probably not even going to matter much. They're going to get stomped in sales, but hey, you know what? Activision's going to Activision. Just no way around that bullshit. So anyways, now that I'm back, it feels good to rant. Oh god, does it feel good to rant here? Activision, new asshole, and they fucking deserved it over this goddamn Infinite bullshit, man. So anyways, as always, rate, comment, subscribe, and all that good shit, and I'll see you guys in the next video.